Get you, white boy.
At the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to what looks like an ordinary dusty mechanic's garage on a sweltering afternoon. The air is thick with the smell of motor oil and old tires. A small-time arrogant thug accompanied by his muscle struts into the shop. He thinks he's the toughest guy in the room, demanding a hefty cut of the shop's earnings as protection money. He assumes the quiet, grease-covered mechanic wiping his hands on a rag is just a regular blue-collar worker. But this thug is making a fatal miscalculation. He has no idea that he has just threatened a man whose past is soaked in blood and classified government secrets. With terrifying, effortless precision, the mechanic dismantles the gangsters. He doesn't just fight them. He breaks them down with the cold, calculated movements of a seasoned apex predator. In a matter of seconds, the thugs are writhing on the concrete floor, their pride completely shattered. The lead gangster limps away, spitting out a dark, desperate threat that he will be back for round 2. But who exactly is this mechanic? And where did he learn to fight like a highly trained assassin? To understand the sheer danger radiating from this man, the movie rips us backward in time, plunging us 5 years into the unforgiving, sun-scorched deserts of Afghanistan. The heavy, rhythmic thumping of military helicopters fills our ears. We are thrust into the boots of our main character, Jack, who is not a mechanic here, but a highly decorated, elite special forces operative. Jack is leading a tense, high-stakes tactical raid through a dilapidated, war-torn village, searching for a high-value terrorist target. The tension in the air is suffocating. Every corner, every shadow could hide a threat. When they spot a suspicious local man, Jack's team demands identification, but the man's eyes dart nervously, and his hand reaches for a concealed weapon. In the blink of an eye, Jack and his squad neutralize the threat with ruthless efficiency. The area is seemingly clear. However, Jack's highly trained eyes notice something deeply unsettling in the dirt. Wires. Hidden explosives. They have walked straight into a massive, rigged minefield. Jack immediately radios his senior commanding officer, a hardened military man named Tom Mason. Mason sees the layout and realizes it's a suicide mission. He screams through the radio, begging and ordering Jack to fall back and leave the bombs alone. But Jack, driven by an overwhelming sense of duty and the belief that he can save innocent civilian lives in the area, disobeys the direct order. He drops to his knees, sweat pouring down his face, and begins the agonizingly delicate process of snipping wires and defusing the explosive device. He manages to disarm the first one. He exhales a breath of relief. But it's a trap. A secondary, hidden explosive device buried in the adjacent compound triggers. A deafening, earth-shattering explosion rips through the village. The blast wave obliterates everything in its path, instantly wiping out every single member of Jack's squad. Jack is thrown violently through the air, his vision going black. The only reason he survives is because Mason rushes into the inferno, dragging Jack's broken body from the wreckage, just as backup helicopters swarm the sky. Jack survives the physical wounds, but his soul is completely shattered. He carries the unbearable, crushing weight of survivor's guilt, a burden that will follow him to the very end of his days. Fast forward to the present day. The dust of the Middle East has been replaced by the grim reality of suburban American life. We see Jack standing in front of a bathroom mirror, looking like a hollow shell of his former self. He dry swallows a handful of antidepressants, desperately trying to quiet the roaring ghosts of his dead squadmates that haunt his every waking moment. He now lives a quiet, mundane life working as a mechanic in that garage we saw earlier. His boss is a man named Earl, a gritty, reformed ex-gangster who took Jack in and acts as a father figure to him. Earl has left the criminal underworld behind, opting for an honest, albeit struggling, living. Despite suffering from severe PTSD and drowning under a terrifying mountain of final notice bank bills, Jack has one pure, beautiful light in his dark world: his loving wife and his sweet young son, Weston. They are the only threads keeping his sanity intact. When he plays with his son, we see a brief, fleeting glimpse of the man Jack used to be. A man capable of love and warmth. His wife is stressed about their crushing financial debt, but Jack gently holds her, promising that he will figure it out, that he will protect them no matter what. But that fragile peace is about to be violently ripped away. Remember that arrogant thug from the garage? His name is Fresh. After Jack embarrassed him in front of his crew, Earl warns Jack to let the situation go. Earl knows how the streets work. Pride is a dangerous thing, and thugs like Fresh don't just walk away from humiliation. That evening, as the sun sets and casts long, eerie shadows over the neighborhood, Jack returns home from a grueling shift. As he approaches his house, a cold dread washes over him. Parked down the street, idling quietly in the dark, is Fresh's car. The thug shoots Jack a menacing smirk before speeding off into the night. Jack's heart begins to pound against his ribs. He sprints to his front door, throwing it open. The house is completely silent. Too silent. What Jack finds in the next room is so incomprehensibly devastating, so deeply horrifying, that it permanently fractures the man he has been trying so desperately to become. There, in the center of his living room, lie the lifeless bodies of his beautiful wife and his innocent young boy. The world stops spinning. The sound fades away. Jack falls to his knees, letting out a guttural, soul-tearing scream of pure agony. His entire universe has just been extinguished in the blink of an eye. When the police arrive, they ask the standard, bureaucratic questions. Do you have any enemies? Does anyone want you dead? But Jack's eyes are empty, replaced by a cold, burning inferno of vengeance. He doesn't wait for the slow, red tape-filled justice system to fail him. He knows exactly who was parked outside his house. Consumed by a blinding, animalistic rage, Jack loads a pistol and drives off into the neon-soaked night. He tracks Fresh down to a loud, crowded, pulsing nightclub. He stalks through the club like the Grim Reaper himself, ignoring the thumping bass and flashing lights. When he finally corners Fresh in a VIP section, the thug's bravado completely evaporates. Fresh is trembling, sweating profusely, holding up his hands in absolute terror. He screams that it wasn't his fault. He begs for his life, frantically trying to explain that he didn't want to hurt the boy, that he was ordered to do it by someone much more powerful, a shadow organization pulling the strings. But Jack is too far gone. The grief has deafened him. Before the thug can drop a name or reveal the mastermind behind the slaughter of Jack's family, Jack's finger twitches. He unloads his weapon into Fresh, silencing the gangster forever and severing his only lead to the truth. The police storm the club moments later. Jack drops his weapon, offering absolutely no resistance. His revenge is complete, but it brings him no peace. He is immediately arrested, charged with murder, and sentenced to life in a maximum security prison. 5 agonizing months drag on. Prison is a living nightmare for Jack. We see him pacing his tiny, claustrophobic cell like a caged tiger. He doesn't care about the prison gangs or the terrible conditions. He is entirely trapped inside his own mind. He spends every waking hour agonizing over Fresh's final words. Who ordered the hit? Why would someone target his innocent family? The mystery eats away at his soul, leaving him suffering in pure, unadulterated agony. One mundane afternoon, Jack gets a surprising visitor. It's his old military commander, Tom Mason, the man who pulled him out of the explosion in Afghanistan. Mason, dressed in civilian clothes, sits on the other side of the visitor's glass and simply asks Jack how he is holding up. But Jack is bitter, angry at the world, and disgusted by his own existence. He glares at his former savior and harshly tells him to leave and never, ever come back. He just wants to rot in peace. But the universe isn't done with Jack yet. Later that very night, a mysterious, sharply dressed man named Sam Ramsey casually strolls into the prison block as if he owns the place. He approaches Jack's cell and makes a completely unbelievable offer. Ramsey claims to run a highly classified, off-the-books government task force. He knows everything about Jack, his lethal military record, his dead family, his unyielding rage. Ramsey offers Jack a way out of prison and a chance to use his deadly skills for the greater good. Jack, completely exhausted by the world's lies, tells Ramsey exactly where he can shove his offer and demands to go back to sleep. But Ramsey doesn't take no for an answer. Hours later, while Jack is asleep, a squad of heavily armed, masked men silently breach his cell. They drug him before he can even throw a punch. When Jack's eyes flutter open, he is no longer surrounded by rusted iron bars. He is breathing in fresh, freezing air on the rooftop of a massive skyscraper. Ramsey is standing over him, smiling like a predator. Ramsey formally introduces Jack to a world he never knew existed. He offers him absolute freedom, a wiped criminal record, and a new purpose. Jack, realizing he has literally nothing left to lose, slowly begins to consider giving his ruined life one last shot at meaning. Jack is transported via a heavily guarded convoy to a massive, state-of-the-art underground bunker. This is the headquarters of Section 8, a shadow organization of elite assassins, hackers, and operatives who do the dirty work the government can never admit to. Ramsey explains that their sole objective is to eliminate high-level threats that endanger national security before they can strike. But the existing team members aren't just going to welcome a convicted felon with open arms. They need to know if Jack is a rusty, broken mechanic or the lethal operative his file claims him to be. Ramsey throws Jack into a sparring ring with Ajax, the team's most arrogant, aggressive, and brutal killer. Ajax taunts Jack, pushing him, trying to spark the rage inside him. It works. The fight is incredibly brutal. Bones crack, blood hits the mat, but Jack doesn't just hold his own, he absolutely dominates. He counters every strike, dropping Ajax to the floor in a display of overwhelming tactical superiority. The entire room goes dead silent. Jack has just earned the twisted respect of the deadliest squad on Earth. The very next morning, Jack is thrown straight into the fire. He boards a luxurious private jet with a beautiful, highly lethal operative named Mueller. As they fly through the clouds, Mueller briefs him on his very first assassination mission. Their target is Alejandro Castillo, a notoriously dangerous international arms dealer who is planning to sell highly classified, sensitive military schematics to enemy buyers. But there is a dark catch to the mission. Ramsey's strict orders crackle over their earpieces. Leave absolutely no trace. Eliminate the target, the buyers, and any witnesses. No exceptions. Jack narrows his eyes. "So, we're just assassins, huh?" he asks. Mueller coldly replies, "We are whatever we are ordered to be." Under the cover of darkness, Jack and Mueller infiltrate the heavily guarded drop zone. Alejandro steps out of a luxury SUV, flanked by armed mercenaries. Inside the vehicle, several innocent prostitutes sit terrified, forced to travel with the arms dealer. The tension snaps when Jack initiates the ambush. He drops out of the shadows, silently executing one of the buyer's guards. The buyers instantly believe Alejandro has betrayed them, and a massive, chaotic gunfight erupts in the middle of the compound. Bullets tear through the air, shattering glass and ripping through metal. Jack moves like water, taking out targets with terrifying precision. He corners Alejandro, pressing a gun to his head, demanding the location of the stolen schematics. Alejandro, bleeding and terrified, looks at Jack with genuine confusion. The arms dealer's bizarre reactions strongly hint that Ramsey lied to Jack about the true nature of these files. Jack retrieves the encrypted documents from the SUV. He looks at the cowering, crying women in the back seat. His orders were to leave no witnesses. He raises his gun, but he lowers it. The memory of his own innocent family flashes in his mind. He lets the women live and walks away into the night. Back at headquarters, Ramsey is absolutely livid. He screams at Jack for disobeying a direct order, warning him that leaving witnesses is a fatal error in this line of work. Once Jack leaves the room, Ramsey turns to Mueller with a cold, calculating glare. He orders her to keep a very close eye on their golden boy. If Jack steps out of line again, he becomes a liability. The stakes skyrocket exponentially on the team's next assignment. Ramsey gathers the operatives and projects a photo of a very familiar face onto the screen. It's United States Senator Jim Graham. Jack is stunned. A sitting U.S. senator? Ramsey smoothly explains that Graham is a corrupt traitor secretly working against his own country, selling out American intelligence for millions. The mission is clear. Infiltrate the senator's massive public election rally, copy the treasonous data from his personal servers, and assassinate him before he can flee the country. The next day, the team executes the operation. The rally is swarming with Secret Service, police, and thousands of cheering supporters. Mueller perfectly disguises herself, slipping past security to download the files. Meanwhile, Jack is positioned on a high vantage point, his sniper rifle perfectly dialed in. The crosshairs rest directly on the center of the senator's chest. "Take the shot," Ramsey's voice orders through the earpiece. Jack exhales slowly, his finger resting on the trigger. But as he looks through the high-powered scope, he sees something that makes his blood run ice cold. The senator isn't alone on the stage. His wife and young child walk up to him, hugging him tightly in front of the cheering crowd. The world goes quiet for Jack. His breathing becomes ragged. The paralyzing trauma of his own murdered family floods his nervous system. He cannot pull the trigger. He cannot make another child watch their father die. He freezes. Suddenly, a gunshot rings out, tearing through the air. But it didn't come from Jack's rifle. Ajax, furious at Jack's hesitation, has gone completely rogue and taken the shot himself. The bullet strikes the senator, and the rally erupts into absolute, terrifying chaos. Screaming civilians trample each other, alarms blare, and the Secret Service immediately swarms the area, returning fire at the Section 8 operatives. The team barely escapes the venue in a heavily armored van. Inside, the tension is suffocating. Jack grabs Ajax by the throat, furious that he fired into a crowd with a family present. Ajax shoves him back, snarling that Section 8 doesn't hesitate. The fracture in the team is now a gaping canyon. Jack realizes he is working for absolute monsters. Jack knows he is now a dead man walking. He refused to follow Section 8's merciless rules, which means Ramsey will view him as a loose end. He slips away from the team and goes completely off the grid. While hiding out at a safe house, Ramsey's heavily armed hit squads arrive to silence him. But Jack's elite instincts keep him one step ahead. He expertly evades the kill team and vanishes into the city. Desperate for answers and completely isolated, Jack tracks down the only man who might know what is actually going on, his former commanding officer, Tom Mason. When Jack confronts him, Mason drops a bombshell that changes the entire movie. Section 8 is not a government task force. The real Section 8 was shut down and defunded years ago. The organization Jack is working for is a deeply corrupt, rogue syndicate run by powerful, high-ranking elites who use the team to assassinate political rivals, silence whistleblowers, and control the criminal underworld for massive profits. Jack is horrified. He has been murdering people to line the pockets of billionaires. He asks Mason for untraceable cash and heavy weaponry. He is going to war. Jack's first stop is his old hometown. He needs to know why a street thug like Fresh killed his family. While investigating, Jack runs into one of his dead son's neighborhood friends. The terrified teenager reveals a critical piece of information. In the days leading up to the murders, he saw strange, military-type men in black suits coming and going from Fresh's territory. Jack's heart drops into his stomach. Fresh wasn't just a thug. He was in direct contact with secret operatives. Suspense. As Jack pieces the puzzle together, the camera pans back to reveal a chilling sight. From a rooftop across the street, a sniper is watching Jack's every move through a scope. Enter Locke. Locke is Section 8's most relentless, lethal, and legendary assassin. He doesn't ask questions, he doesn't miss, and he has just received a direct phone call from Ramsey, ordering Jack's immediate execution. Locke is the ultimate apex predator, and the hunt has just begun. With assassins closing in from every direction, Jack retreats to the only safe place he knows, Earl's mechanic garage. He embraces the older man, emotionally thanking Earl for raising him, for being the father he never had, and for always standing by him. It is a deeply moving, vulnerable moment for our hardened protagonist. But the heartfelt reunion is shattered by the deafening sound of automatic gunfire. Section 8 operatives have tracked Jack's location. They surround the garage, pouring endless rounds of ammunition through the walls and windows. Jack and Earl are forced to dive behind heavy machinery, returning fire in a desperate, spectacular gunfight. Oil drums explode, sparks fly, and the two men fight like cornered lions. Just as Jack runs out of ammo and is about to be overrun by heavily armored mercenaries, a car crashes through the garage doors, running over the attackers. The door swings open, and it's Mueller. She provides covering fire, screaming for Jack to get in. She claims she realized Ramsey was insane, that she wants out of Section 8, and that she came to save him. Jack is extremely hesitant. He trusts absolutely no one, but with bullets raining down around him, he has no choice. He leaves Earl in hiding and jumps into the vehicle. They speed off into the night, united in their goal to infiltrate Ramsey's headquarters and kill him. They arrive at the heavily guarded Section 8 facility. Jack moves through the corridors, ready to end it all. But suddenly, everything goes black. A heavy blow strikes the back of his head. When Jack slowly regains consciousness, his vision is blurry. His hands and feet are tightly bound to a steel chair. As his eyes adjust to the harsh lighting, the sickening truth washes over him. Sitting casually at a table in front of him, sipping a drink, is Ramsey. And sitting right next to him, with a cold, emotionless smirk on her face, is Mueller. She didn't save him. She lured him directly into a trap. But the betrayals don't stop there. The heavy metal door to the interrogation room slowly creaks open, and footsteps echo across the floor. Jack looks up, and his jaw drops in absolute shock. Walking into the room, standing side by side with the corrupt murderers, is Tom Mason. Jack's mind shatters. His old commander, his mentor, the man who saved him in Afghanistan. The villains begin to monologue, laying out the horrifying, tragic truth. Section 8 needed an ultimate, unstoppable weapon, a ghost with no ties to the world, someone who would pull the trigger without question. But Jack had a family. He had a happy life. He had a reason to hesitate. So, they orchestrated the murder of his wife and child. They hired Fresh to do it, knowing Jack would take the bait, end up in prison, and be broken enough to accept their recruitment. They destroyed his entire universe, just so they could mold him into their personal lapdog. Ramsey, Mueller, and the rest of the corrupt operatives leave Jack in the room with Mason, stepping out into the main vault to count the millions of dollars they just received for their latest illegal hit. Mason stands over Jack, looking down at his former soldier. The tension is incredibly thick. You can almost feel Jack's desire to tear Mason's throat out with his bare teeth. But the moment the vault door clicks shut behind the others, the movie delivers its most brilliant, jaw-dropping twist yet. Mason immediately drops to a knee, pulls out a combat knife, and begins frantically slicing through Jack's thick zip ties. Jack is utterly confused, his muscles tense to strike. Mason whispers the real truth. He had absolutely nothing to do with the murder of Jack's family. He has been working deep undercover for years, posing as a corrupt official in order to gather enough evidence to completely dismantle Section 8 from the inside. But now, they have run out of time. Ramsey knows too much, and they have to burn the organization to the ground tonight. As the final zip tie snaps, the restraints fall away. Jack stands up, rolling his shoulders. The despair in his eyes vanishes, replaced by the terrifying, cold focus of a man who is about to unleash pure hell. Mason slides him a fully loaded assault rifle. Jack kicks open the door to the vault. Ramsey and Mueller look up from their stacks of cash, their eyes widening in pure horror. What follows is an incredibly satisfying, adrenaline-fueled, John Wick-style masterpiece of an action sequence. Jack moves through the room with godlike precision. He doesn't hesitate anymore. He uses every weapon at his disposal, taking down Section 8's elite guards in a symphony of destruction. Mueller tries to pull her weapon, but Jack outdraws her, putting her down without a second thought. Ramsey scrambles backward, terrified, begging for his life, offering Jack the millions of dollars on the table. He screams that Jack can be a rich, free man anywhere in the world. Jack steps over the bodies, his face completely devoid of mercy. "I just want to watch you die," he whispers. He raises his weapon and fires, officially ending the man who ordered the murder of his family. The nightmare of Section 8 is finally over. As the smoke clears, a military convoy arrives at the compound. A high-ranking military official, General Sevoy, the man Mason was secretly reporting to, steps out. He surveys the carnage and looks at Jack with intense respect. Sevoy offers Jack a legitimate, highly classified position working directly for him, handing Jack a pristine black business card. The card effectively wipes Jack's criminal record clean. He is no longer a fugitive. He is a free man. But Jack's story isn't quite finished. He returns to his destroyed suburban home to pack a few belongings, ready to leave his tragic past behind. But waiting for him in the shadows of his living room is Locke. Even though Ramsey is dead and the contract is technically void, Locke is a man of terrifying, obsessive principle. His reputation dictates that a job must be finished, no matter what. The two deadliest men on Earth lock eyes, and the final, brutal showdown begins. This isn't a gunfight. It's a raw, visceral, exhausting hand-to-hand brawl that tears the house apart. Furniture is shattered, walls are smashed, and both men take an absolute beating. But Jack, fueled by the closure of his family's vengeance, refuses to die. In a final, desperate struggle, Jack overpowers the legendary assassin, ending Locke's life and permanently closing the door on Section 8. The next morning, the sun rises, casting a warm, hopeful light. Jack stands at a payphone. He dials a number and leaves one final, incredibly emotional voicemail for his Uncle Earl. He thanks the old man for everything, for giving up his life to protect him, and for being the only real family he had left in this dark world. Earl listens to the message in his garage, tears welling in his eyes. The movie closes with Jack boarding a Greyhound bus, heading off into the beautiful unknown. He pulls General Sevoy's black business card from his pocket, stares at it for a moment, and pulls out his phone. He is ready to get back to work. Look, if you made it to the very end of this incredibly detailed masterpiece of a video, and you still haven't clicked that subscribe button, honestly, my feelings are deeply hurt. I stayed up all night, watching, analyzing, and typing out this entire intense script for you so you wouldn't have to sit through a 2-hour movie, and all I ask in return is just one tiny, free click on that subscribe button. Do it right now so I don't cry myself to sleep tonight, and while you're at it, drop a comment below letting me know what movie you want me to explain next. Turn on those notifications, and I will see you all in the next one.